Echo chambers became a real buzzword over the last few years. It seems like every discussion, or maybe more accurately put, every spirited argument anybody had would include someone being accused of being in an echo chamber. It's both interesting and implicating that many of these conversations and accusations would take place between people in the church at large. An echo chamber is a colloquialism, meaning an environment where a person only encounters information or opinions that reflect and reinforce their own. When it comes to social media, an echo chamber would describe when one experiences a biased, tailored media experience that eliminates opposing viewpoints and differing voices. This is extremely troubling. At the same time, it's also disturbing, considering how much time most of us spend on social media today. It's also very dangerous due to social media algorithms. What do? They ensure we only see media that fits our preferences. Consequently, we find ourselves in a comfortable, self-confirming feed. Feed is another good word for what we look at on our social media platforms, because they are curated to feed our biases and beliefs in such a way to insulate and reinforce our ideologies without any consideration of any differing view. Amazingly, and I say that a bit tongue-in-cheek, Jesus made disciples in such a way as to make sure that there would be no toxic echo chambers in his church. Of course, the church has and should always reinforce the essential doctrines of the Christian faith. That is a righteous reinforcement of belief that is needed. However, when it comes to the nuances of our unique gender, ethnic, and cultural experiences, Jesus welcomes all to come to the level ground of the cross, to come to the table, to enjoy friendship with God and fellowship with one another as co-heirs with Christ. Recently, I was reading through the Gospel of John, and I was struck by the diverse assemblage of people we see Jesus interacting with in the early days of his public ministry. As a matter of fact, in his first 4 ministry encounters in the Gospel of John, we clearly see Jesus systematically dismantling all preconceived ideas about who can be a disciple and a friend of Jesus. It didn't take long for Jesus to acquire the moniker of friend of sinners, something the hyper-religious folks of that day scoffed at and would never stoop to, instead remaining in their own self-aggrandizing echo chambers. So who were those people Jesus befriended? Who were these people that he ministered to and reached out to? They were people from various backgrounds and status. A Pharisee named Nicodemus in chapter 3, a Samaritan woman in chapter 4, a Gentile official in chapter 4, and a crippled man in Bethsaida in chapter 5. All these people would have been ostracized or demonized into monolithic categories. They represented entire people groups that could just be hated, written off, and ignored. But not Jesus. He went to where they were. He spent time with them, listened to them, answered their questions, healed their bodies, restored their souls, and welcomed them into his family. Why does this matter? Well, fast forward to Pentecost, where all kinds of different people gathered together to worship God in their own language, and the Church of Christ was born. Were the people different? Absolutely. Different social statuses, different genders, different ethnicities, different ages, different cultures, but one God, one body, and one Spirit. My point? There was no echo chamber here, but there was unity. Unity in diversity. Imagine the different perspectives, the different experiences, the different strengths and gifts that made the body of Christ its most beautiful and powerful version of itself. I want to encourage you to be in and strive for spaces that reflect the beauty of God's diverse kingdom. The church should be this kind of place more than any other, a safe place where men, women, young, old, rich, poor, educated, uneducated, and different ethnicities and cultures join together as one multifaceted family. It is in these spaces where we learn, grow, and become like Christ the most.